Hey Louisville, how you doing? Yeah, it is awfully early, and I know most creatives at this particular time are normally asleep, so I thank you for waking up today. I was recently in San Francisco on some business. It's funny, Ben had mentioned that, San Francisco, and I talked to a bunch of people there, and so many people came up to me and told me how much they love Louisville. A lot of people have actually been here, and they had a lot of great things to say, especially about our bourbon, of course. But I did meet a couple of naysayers who asked me, who were like, "You're from Kentucky?" And it's like they had a question mark at the end of it. Do you guys have paved roads? Do you guys ride horses still? I guess some people do, but it's not the 1800s here anymore. We actually have high-speed internet and all those good things that make Louisville great. But today, Ben contacted me and said, "Hey, we want you to talk on shock." So I was excited. I was honored. I love Creative Mornings. Us at Forest Shine, we've been big partners in trying to help push that initiative, and it's been a tremendous amount of fun. So challenged myself. I'm like, what can I do? So I thought of this guy. Do you know who this is? Morgan Spurlock. He did the Super Size Me documentary where he challenged himself to eat McDonald's for 30 days straight. Shocking, but also disgusting. I said, what if I tried to do something similar? So I thought about one of the guys at work, Kevin, he's our UX coordinator, and his wife is a police officer. I'm like, I'm gonna do 30 days of something shocking, and day one, I'm gonna have her tase me. And then I'll do something crazy every single day, but then I thought of this guy, and I said, that's not a face of fun. So I quickly changed my mind. It wasn't something I wanted to do, but it wasn't because I was scared. I thought I could get a little more creative. So I asked myself, where does shock really come from? Where do we get shocked in life? And the first thing that I thought of, the most obvious, was in the media. So it's in the news we watch, in the movies we watch. And all this stuff is really entertainment, and lately we've been getting a lot of it. But the reality is, humans love this stuff. If you're familiar with Flurry Analytics, they actually came out with this study. Every day, the average American watches 168 minutes of TV and spends 177 minutes on their phone. That's pretty crazy, but it's true. And I think it's because we're looking for something unique, mysterious, and dangerous, perhaps. But I often ask, has that media really inspired us to do anything? Is there anything shocking enough that really, really, truly pushes you to do something perhaps remarkable? I think media, because we're so inundated with it lately, with our phones, with our TVs, with our computers, it's become kind of diluted in that realm. But I do believe there's another type of shock that is really quite powerful. And I kind of coined this phrase myself. I call it spontaneous shock. So it's when weird shit just happens to you out of nowhere. But what it does is it has an actual emotional and physical influence on you. It could be something like you break a limb, you fall out of a treehouse, if you're in treehouses. Maybe you land a big deal that you didn't think you would get. Or in my case, I've snapped my ACL 3 times. And if you leave here with one piece of advice today, leave with this. Oh, not fun, not fun. But the question is when something shocking happens to you, does it inspire you? Does it inspire you to do something amazing, something remarkable That's really the type of shock I want to talk about today, because that particular shock, when you do something, when you act upon it, can have an amazing ripple effect. It can influence others and inspire other people. So I'm not going to give you a lecture today because nobody likes lectures. We're not in school, okay? So it's story time. Everybody likes story time. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, kind of where I've come from. I had 3 spontaneous, shocking moments happen to me when I was 18 years old. But I'm going to rewind a little bit. This is the house I grew up in. It's in Woodstock, Connecticut, not Woodstock, New York, where they had the big festival. But sometimes I lie to people and tell them that happened there. But it's in New England. It's about an hour outside of Boston. And like I said, this is the house that I grew up in. Growing up in New England, I am a Patriots fan. But I do want you to know I did not cheat to get to where I am today. I had a pretty normal childhood. Everything except this particular picture. Moms in the audience, I don't know what you were thinking. But clearly I was destined to move to Kentucky. I'm on a horse. My parents, pretty normal. I was the only child. My mom was a nurse. My dad, he liked to fish. And then my mom always made my damn Halloween costume. And I had to wear these things. I was going to put the clown costume, but I refrained. But I was teased for a good 4 years after this particular incident. I was also in Cub Scouts. I'd played baseball. I did all your normal things. And then this is my lovely high school senior year photo. So eventually I went to high school in Woodstock. I was not a big fan of high school. I really knew that I wanted to study the arts. I wasn't really interested in everything else. I was kind of like laser focused on art, art, art. And it's clearly demonstrated in my report card right here. This is my senior year. I barely graduated. I was almost on a 5-year plan in high school. Clearly, I'm not that good at French. But I'm glad I got a B+ in art with this crowd. But this is right after I did graduate. I think they just wanted me out of there. That's when 3 spontaneous moments of shock really hit me, okay? So I'm going to take you through these. First shock. I was 18. My parents got divorced. Kind of unexpected. I didn't really expect them. I thought they were kind of happy, but apparently they were not. My mom met a guy online and moved to Australia way before it was cool to meet guys online. My dad... sorry about that, Mom. My dad moved up to Boston, but one of the cool things from this shocking moment is they left me a car and they left me a house. So I had like the ultimate party pad for a little while. I woke up to go to work one morning and my car was gone. I was like, where the hell is it? It was at this moment I figured out that was something fishy was going on with my parents' finances. And so my car was taken, and that was a real bummer. So I had to have friends come pick me up. I lived in Woodstock still, so everything was like 45 minutes away, so I couldn't really walk or ride a bike. Then one day, I came home from work, and I walked up to my house, and it was all chained up, and it was boarded up. I couldn't really get in. And I was like, holy, you know what? I've lost everything. And it was a really tough moment for me. But luckily I was smart enough to break in and steal my most valuable possessions, my baseball cards, which haven't really got me anywhere. But you know what? These 3 shocking moments happened one after the other, and it was a really tough time. But I'm sure I shared that story because I know a lot of people can probably relate. Maybe not to the house getting repoed, but parents get divorced, shocking things happen to you, and you need to think about, will that shocking thing destroy you, send you down like a dark hole, or will it inspire you? And in my case, I think it really inspired me. Knowing that I was on my own, I really had to take control of my life and grow up. So that's exactly what I did. So after that shocking moment, It pushed me into action. I went to school at the University of Connecticut, where I studied photography and minored in design. And my grades were a lot better, I promise. I think I had like a 3.3 there. But then after school, I decided I'm going to move to San Diego. And everybody told me, don't do that. You're crazy. I'm like, I'm fine. I have $250 in my bank account. But, I did it because I think, I took a risk because I think you really need to, when you're young, get out there, explore, see the world. It's one of the best things you could do. And San Diego was really where I kind of got my start in my career. But it's also where I met my lovely wife, Sarah. Little Southern Belle in San Diego. Fell in love, and she's the one who lured me back to Kentucky. I really didn't see Kentucky on my radar, but I couldn't be happier to be here. This is a place that I call home now. And I did have those same stereotypes before I moved here, but now it's been an awesome place. And I've been here 12 years. I have 3 kids. We've started Forest Giant. We're doing stuff in the community. This place is amazing. It's grown so much in the last decade. And seeing stuff like CreativeMornings here and everybody getting up early and being here is something really special. I think we've got something great here. So that's my story, a little background, and you can see how shocking moment, kind of crappy. I turned it into something better, and I turned it into positive energy. So I have 3 other stories I want to share with you. They're fun. They're short. Don't worry. But it's about 3 people who were shocked in different ways. Shock could be something really monumental, or it could be something small, but it pushes you into action. And when it pushes you into action, like I said earlier, it can have a really awesome ripple effect. So I'm going to start with this guy. This is about my buddy Chris. 3.5 years ago, he worked in a coffee shop. Many of us do, probably still. I did. I worked in a coffee shop. There was something different about Chris, though. He was experiencing baby shock. Okay? There's a baby right over there. You probably experienced it too. I've experienced it 3 times. When you are having a baby, it's a real serious wake-up call. Okay? You are officially an adult at that point. So Chris was only working part-time and was really concerned about his finances. This is baby number 2. How is he going to take care of his family? His good friend, remember the guy who's married to the cop that works at Forest Giant? Same guy. Chris contacts him. They're buddies. And he's like, Kevin, I really want to work with you guys. Chris had been following us for years. I didn't know this, but he had been following us for years. He knew every single thing about our company. It was pretty cool. So Kevin came back. He talked to me and my partners, John and Jesse, and we said, yeah, come on in. Come on in. Let's have an interview. Let's talk to you. Chris came in. He knew more about our company than we did. And it was a great meeting. And something interesting really stuck out when we met him, and that was that fire in his belly. This guy was super passionate. That moment of shock that he had inspired him to look at a career change and take a risk. He didn't really have a history in app development or software design, but we were willing to take a risk with him. He really did turn that moment, finding out about the baby, into something risky. But he took a chance, and he did it, and it worked out really well for him. And now he's been at Forest Giant almost a little over 3 years. So Chris had a ripple effect on us, too. So he's a very good communicator. He's actually one of the best. And it was a pleasant surprise when he got in because he really helped us learn how to communicate better as a team. It's something we really valued. And he also had that energy to learn new things. And that can be really contagious in a business environment. And everybody started to feel that. So he brought a really great energy. But he also gave myself and my business partners a new perspective on the types of people that we hire. So I can look at a resume and, yeah, you got your MBA, yeah, you worked at Pfizer, whatever. But if you come in and you're just like flat, I'm not going to hire you. So what we look in, when we're looking at people to potentially hire now, we look for that energy, that fire Chris had. That's the first thing we look for. So it's really changed how we look at hiring as a company. And this is all because of Chris. Chris is actually, he really wanted to be here today. He was so kind. I was like, I'd love to tell your story. And he was bummed out. He can't be here because he's in Dubai. Which Ben also mentioned, I think, earlier. So we landed our biggest project ever, which is a big interactive exhibit out in Dubai. And Chris, right now, he came in green, and now he's a lead project manager, and he's out there. Here he is, looking pretty dapper. I'm like, I need a good picture of you while you're out there. And Forrest, we don't wear a lot of suits, so this is kind of an interesting shot. But we're proud of him. He's doing a great job, and it's been really cool. But this is, once again, Chris had that moment, and it changed his career path. It changed the dynamics of our company. And he's doing a great job. It's been really amazing to see him grow. And it was all from that one moment. So I got another story, okay? You might know Patrick Puma. I see him back there. He sat in the back. All right, so I'm going to tell you a little story about Patrick and how he got shocked, okay? So Patrick's on the right. That's the mayor of Louisville on the left. They're buddies. A couple years ago, we were working on a project with Metro, and the folks at Metro said, you really got to link up with Patrick. Patrick's an urban planner. He's worked with U of L. He works with Urban Design Studio, Louisville Downtown Partnership, and he's done some amazing things for this city. So we linked up, and it was very clear to both of us that we had a passion for making Louisville a great city. So we became buddies, and when you become buddies with somebody in Louisville, you go out and you drink bourbon with them, because that's what you do in Louisville. So Patrick, his good friend Pat Smith, and we all went out, and they started to tell me about a project that they were working on. They were considering building a nonprofit. I was like, okay, cool. What's the nonprofit about? We want to make Louisville great. We want to make great projects. We want to do things that inspire the city, inspire the community, and actually do good things for the city. It didn't take long after that pitch, pretty simple elevator pitch, and I was in. And that's where we kind of started a nonprofit here in town called City Collaborative. And City Collaborative is really about building these projects that are quick, but we can get them out there, we can rally the community behind them, and we can have some fun doing it. We don't have to worry about cutting through red tape. We don't have to worry about a 6-month proposal, which is how a lot of things work sometimes. We just get in there and do it. And it's been a lot of fun. So we've worked on a number of projects, but there's one particular project I want to share with you today. So Patrick was up here in Louisville, and he's like, hey, I heard about this thing in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm going to go check it out. It was called Tennessee Brewery Untapped. So in Memphis, what the organizers had done is they found this brewery that was getting torn down. And before it was going to get demolished, they said, let's have a beer garden in this space. So they organized, rallied a team together, and made this beautiful beer garden. You can kind of see it in the background there. And it was a really cool event. And what they did is they showed that the space could be utilized and hopefully it could be restored. Patrick came back and he said, guys, we got to do something like this. So he came back to the City Collaborative team, told us about it, and we were like, cool, let's explore that. So let's build a beer garden. Hell yeah. Who doesn't want to do that? But this is where Patrick experienced his shocking moment. So being an urban planner, he's very in tune with space within the city. He wanted to start and look at where we could potentially have this event. We didn't know what the event was going to be yet. So he built this map, and this map is really, really interesting. Do you guys see all the red up here? This is all empty parking spaces or abandoned buildings in downtown Louisville. So all the black is being utilized, all the red is not. Patrick had a moment where he said, look, this can be something much bigger. This is much bigger than just building a beer garden. This is about showing people we can build something and show people that we can really change these spaces. We can bring these spaces to life. We can occupy these spaces. And this is where a project, Resurfaced, was born. And I don't know if you've heard of Resurfaced. If you haven't, cool. Yeah, it's fun. It's actually going on right now. I don't know if you know that, but you should definitely check it out. But our first one, which was back in October, we found a spot. Pat Smith, he found where we were going to build Museum Plaza. So Museum Plaza was a big project, big skyscraper thing that they were going to build, and then in the financial crisis, it kind of didn't happen. So the space looked like this. It was just barren, unutilized, just a nasty-looking place. But with the help of volunteers and with the help of many organizations, Louisville Downtown Partnership, Metro, and Blue Sky Foundation, we were able to take this and turn it into that. And it was amazing. It was this amazing community experience where everybody got together. We had everything from yoga to hip-hop at this thing. And it was really cool to see the spontaneous collisions that occurred with everybody that was there. It was a tremendous amount of fun. And our goal wasn't really to generate money. That wasn't our goal. Our goal was to get people to think differently. And in that regard, we were very successful. Now we've had a ripple effect with this situation as well, where people now are looking, they'll call us and they'll say, hey, you should do another Resurfaced here. Or they're thinking about their own projects that they can do elsewhere. But our ripple effect has gone beyond the city of Louisville itself. Melbourne, Australia picked up what we're doing here in Louisville, and they're going to do something similar out there. That's pretty cool. A bunch of folks from the United Kingdom recently came out and visited, sat with us, and they want to build a Resurfaced right outside of London next year. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we're very excited about that. But Patrick went to Memphis, saw something cool, came back, did some research, was shocked by discovery, and look at all that's happened now. He acted upon it. If he just sat there and said, cool, that was a cool beer garden, and forgot about it, we wouldn't have this stuff happening today. So Patrick, thank you. Okay, this is my last story, okay? I call this one Lucy's Shock. I have 3 kids. Lucy is 10 years old. She's our oldest. I also have an Oscar, who's 7, and a Lila, who's about to be 4 on Monday. So this is Lucy actually volunteering at Resurfaced. One of the coolest things that I get to do as a dad is I get to share my love of entrepreneurialism and volunteering with my kids. I get to let them experience that, and that's a really important thing. So Lucy had a moment where there was a lot of shock involved, and I'm going to get into that right now. So, have you guys heard of Startup Weekend? Okay. Yeah? One person. Good. Okay, so if you don't know what Startup Weekend is, it happens all around the globe, okay? And basically what happens is you get a group of people together, and you build a small team, maybe 3 to 6 people. You create an idea, maybe it's an app, maybe it's a product, and then you pitch it, and you do that in a 3-day period, okay? It's pretty fun. So I've participated. I'm often asked to mentor. I haven't been able to do it that much lately. We've been a little busy. But about 2 years ago, when Lucy was 8 years old, I was asked to mentor. And because I really want to nurture entrepreneurship in my kids, I was like, Lucy, you're coming with me. So I dragged her along. And it was a really awesome thing that happened. We took her out there, and she's like, we all get our name tags, very much like you all have right now. And Lucy asked if she could draw on my name tag. Well, of course you can. I'll get a little flair on there. Sounds good. But then she started to go around and ask other people too. And eventually, she started to collect some money. She is a social butterfly, so she was all over the place. And she eventually got the idea. She's like, Dad, I'm at Startup Weekend. Let me make a company. So she did. Here's the logo she made. Spice It Up was the company. That particular weekend, Lucy was the first company at Startup Weekend to generate revenue. She made about $30 in 2 hours. May not seem like a lot of money, but if you're 8, you can do some damage at Toys R Us with that. The organizers were shocked by what Lucy accomplished. I mean, I think a lot of people were. So what they did is they asked her to come up on stage and present her company. She's 8. So they asked her to step up on stage and present with the other companies. And here's a picture of her up on stage giving her presentation. It was really a serious, proud papa moment. And now, every time they have an event, they ask her to come and mentor and help the other companies out. So maybe I'm doing something right. I don't know. But Lucy, that particular day, really did shock herself. She was scared to do it. She was scared to go up there. She's 8 years old, you know. But she got up there in front of a bunch of business people, investors and peers, and she gave her pitch. She squashed stage fright that day. And now she's really motivated to be an entrepreneur. So she's learning programming. She's learning robotics. And it's really an amazing thing. I wish we could do more of that with kids. Get them on stage, show them the potential to be leaders and entrepreneurs. But Lucy actually really, and obviously, she's my kid, she shocked me and inspired me. So I must confess, about 3 years ago, I hated public speaking. I couldn't do it. I mean, it's one of the biggest fears that people have, right? I'd come out, I'd be shaking, sweating. It was awful. But that's changed. Now when I come out and I speak, I think about what Lucy did that day. And it's inspired me to get out and not be scared. So what I do is I think about her being in the audience. And she gives me that comfort to know that if she can do it, I better be able to do it. So Lucy's in the audience. You mind waving, hon? She has markers, and you all have name tags. Go talk to her. But it's probably going to come at a price, okay? So a lot of different shock happened in that, right? You know, the crowd got shocked. I got shocked. Lucy shocked herself. Shock can come in all shapes and sizes. It's what you do with that shocking moment and how it inspires you. That's what really makes a difference. If we go back to my story, I turned negative shock into something positive. You know, Mom moved back from Australia, and she lives here in Louisville now, and she's one of my biggest fans. Hi, Mom. Chris had baby shock, right? Changed his whole career and changed a big piece of our company and how we think. Patrick had that shocking discovery moment that made Resurface happen, which has been a great thing for our city. And Lucy, as you know, she's just a shocking kid. Maybe I'm a little biased, but she is my kid. But I think when these shocking things happen to us, we got to let them take us on a journey. Okay? Something shocking happens. Let it inspire you. Let it build that fire in your belly, and let it make you do something amazing. Because there's so many creative minds in this room. I know you guys can do amazing things and inspire the world. And I look forward to seeing what you guys create. So that's it. Thank you, guys.